Hello friends, I am Rajnesh and today in this session we shall be installing and configuring Kerberos server. So this is the same virtual machine LDAP1 on which we will be configuring this Kerberos server. Let's see how. The first thing that we have to do is to install KRB5 server package. Click on yes. The second thing that is to be done is to go to the directory where Kerberos KRB5 KDC and configure kdc.conf for the ream. So in our case the ream that we will be using is linuxcbts.com. Let all the other things be default. The second thing that we have to do is to configure the ACL. So any user under /admin will have complete access to the Kerberos database and will be able to add, delete or modify the principals in it. Coming on to the Kerberos client file, it's /etckrb5.conf. The default ream that we are adding is linuxcbts.com. So the KDC corresponding to it is ldap1.linuxcbts.com and admin server is also the same one. ldap1.linuxcbts.com. So all the machines under the domain linuxcbts.com are under the same ream, and the same is with this domain. Right, and come out of it. Now we have configured the Kerberos server configuration in where Kerberos KRB5 KDC. The second thing is to create a database for that ream. That could be created using kdb5 util create with -s stash and -r is the ream name. So the ream that it will be creating is linuxcbts.com. So we have to provide the KDC master key. It will be a new key. Let it be master at 123. So our ream linuxcbts.com has been created, and in Kerberos there is a ream under which we can have hosts, users, or the services, and all the keys. So what is Kerberos? Kerberos is based on private key or symmetric key algorithm. So the Kerberos database has a private key corresponding to every service and user. The user knows the key and can enter the key. Regarding the services and hosts, we create a random key and save it in krb5.key tab or any other key tab file which is accessible to that host. So we have created a Kerberos principal. Now the next objective is we will be authenticating this machine using users from LDAP database and password from this Kerberos stream. Let's start the services. Key admin to manage the Kerberos. So these are the principals that are already present. Here we cannot see any principal corresponding to this host. We cannot see any principal corresponding to LDAP, and we cannot see any principal corresponding to the user. Principal is an identity associated with a service or an host or a user. So let's add a principal corresponding to the user RCval, the LDAP user. Let's do one thing. Let's install a package readline devel. It will provide command line completion in this kadmin.local. Add prints, provide it a password. Let's give it rcval at 123, rcval at 123. So it has been created. Next, any machine which is a part of Kerberos should have its key tab present in it. So let's create add prints minus random key host ldap1.linuxcbts.com ktadd minus k /etc krb5.keytab host ldap1.linuxcbts.com. So we are done with it. Now let's try to configure auth-config TUI or the authentication to use the user details from LDAP but the password from Kerberos. For this we'll have to install one more package, PAM KRB5. So we have installed the package. Now let's come back to auth-config TUI, tell it to use Kerberos for fetching out the passwords, click on next. For LDAP we are OK with TLS. For Kerberos Ream it's linuxcbts.com, ldap1.linuxcbts.com, OK. So let's try to log in into this machine using the rcval password from Kerberos database. the machine ldap1.linuxcbts.com using the Kerberos credentials. So if I type klist, I see that I have a ticket granting ticket associated with me, available with me, and it expires tomorrow. So everything is fine. Let me just try to SSH to the same machine using the same username. You'll see that it did not ask me for the password. The reason being, I already had a ticket granting ticket, and the ticket was provided corresponding to the SSH service to me, validating my TGT. If I just type klist, no credential cache because they have not yet been delegated. So if I again type the same thing, it is now asking me for the password because these credentials have not been passed on to the next session. Let's see how we pass them. For that, we'll have to just modify ssh underscore config file to say GSS API delegate credentials yes. And now if presently I am on hostname ldap1.linuxcbts.com and I have a ticket granting ticket and a ticket associated with SSH. So let me try to connect to this ldap1.linuxcbts.com using SSH. I was able to log in without providing password because I used GSS API credentials or Kerberos credentials. Now if I see, I still have a Kerberos ticket because it was delegated. Now if I again try to SSH to this machine, I won't be asked for the password, and again I have this TGT. So any number of times I can SSH to the machine, and every time I use my SSH client, my key tab or my TGT will be passed to the next session. So this is how GSS API authentication works with SSH. Thanks for listening. This is Rajneesh signing off.